Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to the session. This is a session that's very important. It's the #1 crime in America, and I want to educate you a little bit about it and a little bit about how to protect yourself. I am not here to sell fear, but this is a topic that deserves some attention and some knowledge. My name is Armando. I'm in the computer support business. I pride myself on adding value and educating people. And then if they want to do business with us, that's great. You know, we're a full-service IT organization. We educate our clients. We support their systems. We install their systems. And we really do add value by educating them on the right technology. A gentleman asked at the end of the last session, he asked a question about cloud security. And I'm going to comment on that a little bit. The last session was really good, and Kim has all her documents in the cloud and all that. But unfortunately, being in corporate for many years in IT and owning my own business now for the last 6 years, I found that nothing is really safe, and you have to be careful. Your industry, as we'll get into, is not really regulated by any agency, but you still have a responsibility to your clients to protect their privacy. So this session is about two things. It's about your identity on your own personal computer, on your work computer. It's about your client's identity. It's about protecting both sides of it. Protect your business, protect yourself. I brought a short video that I want to start with. It's actually pretty long. I'll tell you where to find it on the web. I'm just going to play a minute or two of it to highlight the topic and the danger here. So if you'll bear with me a little bit. Oh boy. There we go. Cue the sound from the back. He said to let him know when the sound was not be needed. Nothing yet.
And basically became me.
I feel it's a loss of control that someone's out there pretending to be you.
Okay, again, this is on ftc.gov. I'll play a minute of it or two, and then you can go watch the full video yourself.
Somebody took it away from me in the blink of an eye. In less than a month, this woman destroyed what I had worked for 15 years.
I mean, your credit score is basically all you have.
I was mugged. They got my information.
It can really negatively affect your life.
Then they went off with the information and basically became me.
I feel it's a loss of control that someone's out there pretending to be you and doing things in your name that can come back to haunt you.
Somebody was using my name and all my personal data.
They'd done it all.
I just didn't even know where to start.
They had a long record.
It's a terrible feeling.
Identity theft. It happens when your personal information is stolen and used without your knowledge. It's a serious crime that can cost you time and money, ruin your credit, and destroy your good name.
When I was a victim of identity theft, my mail had been stolen.
I was shopping at a grocery store and someone took my wallet.
I think I made a purchase and they stole all my debit card information.
My briefcase had been tampered with, and when I looked in it, I saw that my passport and my driver's license, which I had in there, had been taken.
Identity theft happens when someone takes information about you and then uses it to commit fraud.
Identity theft is very serious.
We know that identity fraud in its various forms has affected 10 million people in any.
Okay, so again, that's on ftc.gov. You can watch it. It's a 10-minute video, very informative. I'm going to cover some of the topics. And the reason I show the video is just to highlight again the seriousness of this and the many ways you can lose your identity. Now, I've done these presentations, and they've taken as long as 90 minutes. I have to truncate this one, so I'm going to really hit some high-level bullet points, and then we'll take some questions. But, you know, the honest truth is there's a lot of different ways to lose your identity. We're in the computer business, so I should be up here just speaking about the computer because we want you to call us and we want to do business with you. However, to be fair, it's not the only way, and that's why I show the video. You have to protect your mail. If you're on vacation, you want to stop the mail or have somebody pick it up. You have to watch what you put in the trash. You have to shred everything. We talked at breakfast at the mentor tables about getting a shredding company for your business, and it's no different at home. Do not put things in your trash. Once your trash goes out to the sidewalk, it's public domain. Once you put your papers in your dumpster behind your store, dumpster diving is not illegal. It's legal. They cannot be arrested for dumpster diving. They could be arrested for trying to use the information they find, but they can't be arrested for dumpster diving. So you really don't have a lot of protection out there. You have to protect yourself, okay? So there's a variety of ways you can lose your identity. There's a variety of ways related to your PC, and there's a variety of ways you can do it just walking around in your everyday life. So we're going to talk a little bit about the different ways we're going to do that, and I'm not going to stand up here. Identity theft is the #1 crime reported to the FTC in the country. That's just unbelievable to me. When I was doing the research, I was shocked by that. I did this for a CPA group of about 100 people recently, and you know, the ways that you can lose your identity is amazing, and the amount of time it takes, how quickly. They say a good identity thief in your cubicle within 10 minutes can find out your passwords. Now, some of you, and I won't name names, and I won't ask for hands because people won't put their hand up anyway, have their password either disabled, on a sticky pad, on a little white piece of paper on the shelf above the computer. They think that's kind of cool. It's really obvious to somebody going in looking to be, you know, a thief to find the password. Kids' names, you know, pets' names. You can't make your passwords obvious. Okay, so that's one way. Mail is another way. Dumpster diving, throwing away bank statements without shredding them, financial statements, tax returns. Okay, I spoke to the CPAs and I told them that they have to stop mailing your tax returns. So if anybody out there has a CPA who's mailing their tax return, give them my number. Tell them the IRS is going to come after them unless they call me and figure out the right way to get your tax return information to you. It's against the law, as well as a huge risk to you, for them to send your tax return or any financial information in an unencrypted email. It's now against the law, and they're getting audited. And I mentioned that you're not regulated yet. When I started doing these speeches 10, 12 years ago about proper security and, you know, taking care of your computer and watching your passwords and things like that, people would say, oh, Armando's on his soapbox. He's talking about best practices. Oh, you know, they ignored me. Now, some 7 years ago, HIPAA started doing compliance audits. At first, it was just the HIPAA laws and the threats of fines, and they never went out to a hospital or a doctor and they did an audit. Now they do. Then HIPAA is focused on the medical profession. FINRA is focused on the broker-dealers. So there's, you know, your broker has to meet certain requirements to protect your identity and in communicating with you. And the FTC now is regulating accountants. And they've hooked up with the IRS for enforcement. It's not just about setting rules that nobody follows. It's enforcement. They're going and visiting CPAs. And eventually, because you're keeping information about your clients, you may be regulated in some way. Right now, there are some regulations that affect you whether you know it or not. Okay? You have a disposal rule that you have to follow. If you have my personal information, you have to dispose of that in a reasonable manner. We'll go through that a little bit. If you have any type of PII, personally identifiable information about a client or a prospect, you have to dispose of that and protect that information. If your systems are infiltrated, you have to let people know, I had your information on a system that was infiltrated or stolen. I met someone outside who said, I hope I win the laptop you're giving away because mine was stolen. Well, if my spec sheet was on there or my personal information was on there, somebody now has that spec sheet. Somebody now has enough to at least get started on an identity theft scam. It's pretty scary. So your computer, your mail, your paper, your pill bottles have information about you on them. We have to take the label off before we recycle the plastic. When you walk into an ATM, so you go into a little lottery store, a bodega, not a bank. Sometimes it happens at banks too. You have to be careful dipping your card. If there's a plastic piece over the front of the ATM, it could be a fake ATM. It could actually work, but there's an interface that will read your card information and steal your ATM card. You have to be careful where you shop. You have to be careful when you shop online. You have to make sure your computer doesn't have a virus. Some viruses are very evident, and they pop up and they want to sell you software. That's just basically extortion. They infect you and then they sell you the software to cure you. Other viruses are completely silent. Those are the ones that are stealing your email password and your credit card information. Pay bills online, show of hands. Pay bills online, transfer money, check your bank account, maybe go into your investment account. We all do it in some way, shape, or form. You have to be careful. So let's talk about some of the things related to computers and some not. How do you keep the data safe? The computers store information. You have it about your clients, you have it about yourself. How do you keep that data safe? What are the other threats? I touched on some of them. Paper, tax returns, application, statement. I'll tell you, I'm in the business. I've been speaking for years about safety and proper security. My daughter's going to Malloy. She's a senior. 2 years ago, I went to apply for financial aid. I went on fastfood.com. I filled out the form, put in my social, her social, all our tax information, all our financial information, and at the end it asked me for $89. I'm scratching my head. $89? The government never charged for this before. My son Reggie graduated from college, so I'd been through this. It wasn't FAFSA. It was another company that bought the domain name fastfood.com. The government's fastfood.org. I put all my confidential information in the hands of some shady company that wanted $89 to guide me through the FAFSA application, which I already had just filled out online. It took me 20 minutes. Now they have all my information. And I don't even know what to do about it. I've written to Congress, I've called the FTC, well, they're a legitimate company, as long as your identity theft doesn't, as long as you don't have identity theft, we really can't point at them. You voluntarily signed up on their website. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous. And I felt so stupid for not realizing that I was doing this. They mirrored the FAFSA site, because I had been on it before. They mirrored all the questions in the same order. And what they're trying to sell is college tuition finance advice. So for $89, they'll advise you on the right way to ask your college for this and the right way to apply for loans. Very easy to get scammed. Pill cases, email, social engineering. To me, that was a form of social engineering, what I fell for. There's other more obvious ones. We were talking to somebody this morning about the Bank of America email that keeps coming out. Okay? I got one just yesterday. Went in my spam folder, and I knew it was fake, and in my spam folder, I look at it on the internet so I don't get hit with a virus. It's not on my computer. But one of the things that I was telling the people this morning is, don't click on the link in an email if you think it's not real, if you have any doubt. Your bank's not going to ask you for information. Your email company is not going to ask you for the password. They don't care what your password is. You have the right to reset your own password. They don't know what it is, actually. They're not going to ask you to verify your account if you're an MSN user. Bill Gates is not giving away money. The Spice Queen from India is not giving away money. She's not asking you to take her money and give you 10%. It's not real. It's a scam. You click the link, you get a virus. So what do? You put your mouse over something, and on the lower left-hand side of your browser, it tells you where you're really going. In the Bank of America email, where it says click here, when you mouse over it, it's not going to Bank of America. It's probably going to a website that's either generating pay-per-click or it has a virus. And once you click, you download the virus, your machine is infected. You may not know it. It may show no obvious signs, but it's going to steal your email password and maybe more. You have to be very careful. There's a new phone social engineering scam going on. And I only know about this because a client got it, and one of my techs got the phone call up in Northport. You get a phone call, and they say, you have a virus. Your municipality has asked us to call you because you're sending out viruses from your computer. You're generating a lot of traffic. We need to shut you down unless you let us fix it. People fall for it. They let them log into their computer. $319 later, they've been charged. The company has their credit card, and it was all a scam from the beginning. And they leave a tracking virus on your computer. So what do? You have to think. You have to realize that your bank is not going to ask you for information. The IRS is not going to ask you for information. Your email provider is not going to. They may inform you. They may tell you to reset your password. They may ask you to go to a website. But watch before you click. Look at the lower left-hand side. Just put your mouse over it. Think, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. Nobody's giving away money. No one's giving away a free Sony Vaio. I mean, I've seen them all. People send them to me. Is this real? Is this real? It's all fake. the woman before me was talking about, Kim was talking about Google and storing information in the cloud and this and that. Information doubles for a business every 12 to 18 months. It's amazing how much information we generate. So what do you do with it all? How do you keep it safe? The gentleman, I think he's gone, he asked about, is it safe in the cloud? Well, it is if you maintain your password, if the site is compliant. Some sites are not meant to be storing confidential information. You have to look and see if it's a HIPAA compliant site. Is it a safe site? Is it an SSL site, a secure site? SSL is when you go to, before the www on the left-hand side, it says HTTP, ://. If it says HTTPS, that's a secure site. They've paid anywhere from $150 to $250 per year to securitize that site and add another layer of security. Okay? So you have to be careful what websites you're on and where you store your information. So one of my clients was using Dropbox. It's free. You're going to put client information on a free site? You have to be careful. You have to think it through. Or talk to somebody like us that understands the business. A lot of times the advice we give is it has nothing to do with us making money. I tell people don't use that, use Secure Drawer. It's HIPAA compliant. It's good enough for the medical field. If it's good enough for HIPAA, it's good enough for me. And it's $10 a month. Is it worth $10 a month to use a free and put your information at risk? I don't think so. The other thing you get with free is no support. There's nobody to call. I had someone who got a virus, stole his password to his Google Apps account. He was selling mortgages. Never seen a more panicky young man. Panicky. His account was infiltrated. Google let him know it was infiltrated. We traced the IP address. Couldn't really trace it because they were behind firewalls. They were identity thieves. They were looking through his files on his Google account. It's not meant for that. It's not meant to keep mortgage applications on. It's not meant to keep confidential information on. It's meant to do file sharing. It's meant to be a good backup. It's meant for portability. So as real estate agents, I met somebody today who said, I'm totally in the cloud. So that's great. For your field, that works. You upload something, you go somewhere else, you access it via your laptop, that's great. You don't have to keep important data on your laptop. It works. But be smart about what you keep up there. Okay, threats. Data theft, hackers. A hacker can get in because they planted a virus on your machine, because you have a bad firewall at your business or your home. A firewall is not a $30 Linksys router. That's a router. It's not going to protect you. It's just going to get you on the internet. So if you have one of those at your office, talk to your IT person about upgrading it. Scam emails, internal data leaks, disgruntled employees, poor security practices, again, stickies with the password, not changing your password, disabling your password, having Internet Explorer and Mozilla remember your password. So the cleaning person comes in at night and they can do whatever they want. Not good. Virus and spyware, email content, websites, legitimate websites, approximately 100,000 a day are infected with viruses, and the person running the site doesn't know it. Last year, I had clients yelling at me because we provide maintenance for our clients, and one of those maintenance items is antivirus and anti-spyware, and they said, your antivirus isn't working, and I had multiple calls. Why isn't it working? Well, I was trying to go check the score of the baseball game, and it won't let me get on OptOnline. It says it's infected. So if it says infected, then don't go on there. Well, I want to check the score. I said, then go to MLB.com. Don't go on the site. It's infected. They argued. I finally got a conference call with Cablevision. It took 20 minutes to convince them. Their site was infected. This is a technology company. Their site was infected. Somebody hacked in. Somebody planted a virus on the site. If you clicked on the link to the Yankee score, you got a virus. Have to be careful. You have to have good anti-spyware and antivirus on your machines. How else? Spam. 90% of all mail is now spam. If you don't have a good email system, somebody was saying, I don't remember if the person's here, they said they have 2 Gmail accounts, one personal and one for work. Well, honestly, you should have domain-based email for your business. You shouldn't be using free email. You have no protection, you have minimal spam filtering, and 90% of emails are spam, and most of those have some sort of virus or spyware in them. So if you're at, Prudential Realty, you want your name at prudential.com or whatever the name of your real estate company is. Don't go with AOL. Don't go with any of the free emails. There's no protection. There's no backup. If your machine crashes, you lose all your mail. and try to call one of them up and say, hey, I had a problem with my mail. That's free mail. They're not going to help you. You're not going to get anybody on the phone. If you have a real email, you can sync it with your phone. It's backed up. You can share contacts with your colleagues and your other employees, and you have some protection. It's a different level of service. And it's not that expensive. You can get hosted exchange for $10 a month. Wireless sync of your contacts, wireless sync of your calendar, 25 gigs of storage. I mean, just tremendous difference between the free and $10 a month in services and protection. Yes? I put them in the free category. You're not really paying for an email service. It's part and parcel of your internet service provider's service. And again, what's more professional? I'm with a computer company. If I gave you a Armando@AOL.com, I'm not advertising my business. I'm not showing you that I have my own website. You know, each email you send when you have a business-based, domain-based email is an advertisement for your business. So every one of my businesses at CMITsolutions.com, every one of my emails. Every one of those, everybody that gets my email knows that's my website if they want to check out my website, and I'm advertising for my business. It's a huge difference. Huge difference. How many people work in an office with multiple PCs and a network and file sharing and this and that? Okay, a few of you. This stuff really pertains to that. You know, this is not for the single user, but you really have to be careful in a network environment. Make sure your data is backed up on a single PC or on a network, but the security is really important. You have people coming and going. You have brokers coming and going. I have a few real estate clients, and one of them didn't have a server, so they shared out a drive on the manager's desktop, and everything was available in the share. So when they said, oh, we have, yeah, the application and this is on the shared drive, so was the QuickBooks data file. Anybody that logged into that network, that was a guest at that network, anybody could see that file and steal information from them. So you have to have proper security when you're in a shared environment. Yes? Yes? No more. Not email. Postal mail is still allowed for some reason. Not through email. Postal mail, but what I would tell your accountant is, special delivery, signature only. You saw the guy grab it in the video. That's why I showed the video. Are you home now? Okay, he sends you your mail. By 4 o'clock you get home. You don't know what was taken out of your mailbox. So I would be real careful with that, and I'll get back to the wallet stolen in a second. It could be a virus, and it could be a technical issue, and it could be an issue with the internet. It's really impossible to tell, but sometimes viruses will disable your internet connection, or they'll force you to a certain site. You need somebody to run scans on your PC. Stop by the booth, CMIT booth. There's a big 55-inch TV behind the booth, just to the right when you walk in the main, and we can help you later. Okay? The wallet, her husband's wallet was stolen. She canceled the credit cards. Is that enough? On the last couple of slides, which I'll be glad to email to anybody, you can write down my email address before we leave. The answer is that's not enough. You want to do a few things. Call your bank. Call your credit card company. Okay? Tell them you want to create a special password. Okay? Not mother's maiden name. You want to change it. Make up a word. Okay? And make it a word that only you and your husband are going to know. Nobody else should know it. Okay? When they call you and say, what's your mother's maiden name or the secret word in the account, give them that word. No more mother's maiden name, because who knows, that's not that hard to find, so you don't want to have that. Number 2, call the credit companies, the credit bureaus, Experian and the other credit bureaus, and put a fraud alert on your account. Wallet was stolen, anybody applies for a loan, I want to be called. Nothing can happen unless I'm called. And you're allowed to do that. And you're allowed to get 1 free credit report to see if anybody tried anything. My identity was stolen twice. Not full identity theft where it got bad, but they got my wife's credit card more than once, and they went out, they ordered new checks from my bank 15 years ago, which was unbelievable, and they sent them to a P.O. box in Rockaway, and the bank fell for it. It was unbelievable. And a couple of times they just started doing little charges. You have to check your credit cards on a regular basis. You know, iTunes, $1. They're testing to see if somebody's watching. They're testing to see what they can get. Then they do a $10, then they do an $80. And they do as much as they can before it gets shut down. We had somebody, another one of our CMIT locations, had a prospect call up. And the guy got, unfortunately, didn't think it through, got real excited. I need to buy a bunch of equipment. We're opening a new business in your town, blah, blah, blah. Took a credit card. The credit card was fraudulent. They didn't realize it. They expedited the order until after the order was shipped. Really have to be careful. For the businesses, again, if you have a business and you're ignoring your systems, you're putting your business at risk. You need professional grade antivirus, anti-spyware, a good router. It's not very expensive, even for your home. It's not very expensive to do the right thing for yourself and protect yourself. I recommend that you do it. Whether you go through me, you have a friend, IT person that you know, doesn't matter. Do the right thing for yourself. You'll protect yourself. Encryption, password policies, all essential. Encryption means if you're sending something confidential, it shouldn't be in plain text in an email. Even date of birth, name, and my address is PII, personally identifiable information. That's the beginning of a possible identity theft. None of that should go out in plain email. You really have to be careful. User education, that's why I'm here. Not here to sell computers, even though we sell computers. I'm here to educate people. I hate this. This bothers me when I see people. When I did the CPA show, we had a 22-year-old girl, young lady, who spoke because she lost her identity, and they think it was at college because 3 other people did it. Whereas we think the ATM was tampered with and a little device was put over the card. It still worked, the ATM, but it also grabbed onto a memory card her information. She had her identity stolen. You have to know. What do you have, and where is it? I'll give you another quick scam. Go into a gas station, and the pumps are turned off, and you can't use the credit card. If you hand the credit card to the clerk, keep an eye on the credit card. They've been taking photos of the credit card. They make believe they're on the phone. They take a photo of the credit card while they're processing the payment. Go to a different gas station. Don't give your credit card to anybody. You give your credit card to somebody, even at a restaurant, it's a risk. Make sure you know who you're dealing with. So what do you have? Is it protected? Do you need it? You have bank statements at home for 7 years. You have 20 years worth of tax returns. Get a good shredder. Get rid of them. You don't need them. If you have paper at your office that you don't need, call Quality Shredding. It's a certified shredder that will get rid of the paper in a safe and compliant way and reduce your risk. Is it secure? You have information on your computer? Is it confidential? Make sure the computer's locked. Housekeepers, burglars, anybody can get into that computer if it's not locked with a password. Can it be tossed? If it can, get rid of it. It's just a risk waiting to happen, an accident waiting to happen. How do I toss it safely? Again, some of the things we talked about. Shredding. Take the labels off your pill cases. Shred your credit card. Cut it up into pieces when you get a new one. Put a secret word on your credit card, on your bank account, etc. There's a lot of laws governing this. Your industry is not currently governed. My advice to business owners, whether you're governed or not, is to adopt some good standards. Yes? Okay, the old computer or old hard drive on a copier also has a hard drive in it. Everything you scan stays on the hard drive. Okay? You have to take the hard drive out before you recycle the computer. We have a service where we recycle computers for free. We take out all the hard drives before we give them to the recycle company. Quality Shredding will shred a hard drive. They have a special machine that'll chop it up into mincemeat. What we do is we break it, we drill a hole in it, we put a magnet next to it, nothing's happening to it. If the client wants to pay for the shredding, we'll send it over to Quality and it'll get shredded. But you definitely have to take out the hard drive. And if you sell a copier from your business, please be aware that they also store information. Disposal rule. If you have confidential information for a client, you have to have reasonable efforts to dispose of it safely. That's your responsibility. Clients change, the climate is changing, okay? There will be enforcement in different ways. The other problem is, without enforcement, is civil liability. If somebody loses their identity and traces it back to you, you're in for a lawsuit. So it's important to protect your client's information. I promise more information. FTC.gov has a whole bunch of stuff, including that video, the 10-minute video I mentioned. IDtheft.gov, et cetera. And I'll be glad to send you these slides or this list if you write down my email address, which I'll give you in a second. Could also, if you are worried about identity theft or you've been a victim, you can call the 877 number. Okay? At this point, this is more for businesses. If you have a business and they have access to your network, you really should have an e-policy guide. An e-policy guide is a system use and policy guide. So you have rules about attendance, you have rules about, whatever in your business, but you really don't have rules about the computer. If you're giving one of your employees access to a company-owned computer, you should have a policy guide that covers the fact that they shouldn't be surfing the web for fun. They shouldn't be going on porn sites during the day. Because what you're going to hear is, I didn't know. I wasn't hurting anybody. It was my lunch break. Meanwhile, somebody walks by, they see porn, it's a sexual harassment suit, they get viruses on your machine. They're putting your business at risk. But if you don't expressly say it, you're going to hear, I don't know. And trust me, 95% of the time the employee wins. They'll win the unemployment case, they'll win any grievance if you try to fire them because they didn't know. If you warn them and you create a systems use and policy guide, then you at least have some protection. Okay, that's my phone number. That's our website. I'll give you my email if you have specific questions, and we can take questions now. My email is adiaccordo. It's my first name, first initial, last name without the apostrophe. adiaccordo. That's ADACCORDO @CMITsolutions.com. And if you step up to the mic, I'll be glad to take some more questions. ADACCORDO @CMITsolutions.com. That's solutions with an S. So please step up to the mic so everybody can hear the questions, or just talk loud and I'll repeat the question. I'm going to go back to that other slide also. This one. Oh, the phone number is 877. Sorry, hold on. 516-2648. Show of hands, questions, anybody? Yes. Yep. Yep. Credit bureau. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Then I give you, I would call the FTC about that, the identity theft. Tell them that you're worried about identity theft, and I would also call the credit bureaus. I don't have that slide in here, but it's I can email it to you. It's Experian. There's 3 credit bureaus. TransUnion, et cetera. You call them, and what happens, I need to get away from the speaker. Well, you call them or you write to them online. You can put a credit alert on your account. And that you'll say, I want a phone call at this phone number before any application is processed in my name. Yes. Right. You have to put the credit protection on your account. So if somebody has your Social Security number, they still can't open a loan, they can't do a credit card. So you have to call the major credit bureaus and put a alert or a lock. The other thing, I don't want to recommend this, and we have more time for more questions. LifeLock has been advertising. There's a guy on TV, he says, here's my Social Security number. You can't do anything with it because I'm a LifeLock member. Somehow they have a program for, I don't know, $15, $20 a month where they protect your identity. I don't know how. I'm not endorsing it. But if he was giving out his Social Security number, he must be doing something right. I think what he's doing is he's having the credit agencies protect his social. So you can give out your social, and somebody can't do anything with it without a phone call to you, a secret password, et cetera. I also don't recommend carrying your Social Security number in your wallet. Put it in a vault. Memorize it, put it in a vault. Don't carry it. It's just not, it's not good. And if you ever have to go to unemployment or any of the government agencies, they ask you for your social, write it across the top in big letters and put all the papers in the middle of the room, in the middle of the table. Nobody in the government protects your identity. You have to protect your own. Yes. Sorry, I'll get to you next.
How with things like, I have an iPhone, some people have iPads, and Apple has their iCloud.
Yep.
So they back up your contacts, your information on your iPad and stuff in the iCloud. Is there anything with that? Is there any problem?
No, there's no problem with that. But again, I have a business where I don't have a problem doing my contacts and stuff because there's nothing confidential in there. But if I was taking a credit application from somebody, or if I scan a credit card authorization form from one of my clients, that gets encrypted and put on my server. And when I back it up, it's encrypted. I don't do anything that's unencrypted because I don't want the identity to be stolen. If you back up your pictures, who cares if somebody gets into that account? I mean, as long as you're not putting confidential information in the contacts, that's fine. Name, phone number, you know, that's okay. And again, there is a password on that account, so if you maintain good password security, you don't put it on a sticky, then nobody's going to get into that account anyway. No, it's not encrypted. It's not meant to be a safe backup. It's meant to be a second copy. Yes? Yep. If it's blatant spam, no. And again, when I mean don't be on free email, the spam filters stink. If you're on an exchange email, a quality email system, it's a better spam filter. You can whitelist, blacklist people. And the stuff that gets stuck in the spam filter, if you know it's blatant spam, don't even unsubscribe. Just leave it in the junk folder. Mark it as junk or block it. If you unsubscribe, they're testing. Some of them are testing, and they're looking to see it's a legitimate email. By you unsubscribing, you just legitimatized your email. You're going to get more. Yep. Debit cards are better than credit cards. And if anybody offers you a way to pay via electronic file transfer over credit card, take it. I take electronic file transfers in my business now. As a vendor, it's better for me because I'm not paying the fee to the credit card agency. I pay a small transaction fee. For the client, more importantly, it's safer. It's you control it. It's from your bank account with a secure login to my bank account through the Intuit system. And it's a bank-to-bank transfer. That's the safest way. The less you take your credit card out of your wallet, the less you shop online, the safer you are. Again, I don't want to endorse it because I don't use it yet, but I'm considering it for myself. It seems like a good program over and above the other things that I said here. True, but this is the business he's in, and he's certified to do it. So, again, I don't want to endorse it, but it's something worth considering. I have to stop. Yeah, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go in the back, and I'll tell you where my booth is, and any questions you have, I'll be glad to take them. Thank you.